Not my problem. Not my monkey.
No.
Not my monkey. Monkeys are all, she's not my monkey either. And I'm like, listen, monkeys, I get it. She's no one's monkey.
No, she can be that chimp crazy lady's monkey.
Oh my God.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Hi.
Hi. I caught
How
you
are
like
you?
mid-sip. I started talking like right as you picked up your soji rushi or whatever it's called.
I realized that I had been like holding the water in my mouth and I was like, you've got to swallow, Ramona. You're about to say your name. And I waited the last possible minute. And it was like my throat was in some sort of, it was just that weird thing where I like froze. I'm like, I got to swallow. I got to talk.
I know. You looked like a little
So
hostage for a
weird.
second. I was like,
So
what's happening?
weird. What was happening? You know what's happening is that it's hotter than balls where I live. There's about 10,000 air conditioners and fans going on. So I apologize if you hear mechanisms in the background, but it is like, it was over 100 today. So it's hot.
Ugh.
It's hot.
It's so hot for the Bay
It's
Area,
so hot.
especially.
It's so
like,
hot for the Bay Area.
Yeah, you guys are not equipped for that.
Thankfully, we have AC in our house, but yeah, it's been going on for about a week, and we got another week left. So everyone's a little schwitzy right now.
Yeah.
I'm a schwitzy.
I mean, this is the way. It's always like the summers have gotten like super mild, and then end of September, and then through Halloween, it's just like a sweat fest.
Yeah, full sweat fest,
Yeah.
man. Full sweat fest.
It's hot down here too. I guess that's why it's on my mind.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I've heard.
that's
Ugh.
fine. But it's
Anyway.
like, talking
And
about
that's
the
what-
weather.
That's what you do. You talk about the weather.
Yes.
When you're middle-aged, you talk about the weather.
Well, it matters.
I'm just
Sweating,
kidding.
layers, all these things, they matter.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that matters, the reason why we're here today, is we're going to discuss Season 18, Episode 13 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. You are cordially not invited. You are cordially not invited.
Good
It's
for
true.
Shannon.
She was cordial about not inviting.
She was cordial. Everyone was all
Alexis.
freaked out about that language. And I was like, it's just clear.
It's just clear. It's just clear. And
Yeah.
Alexis doesn't have to like it. And Alexis has the level of cognitive dissonance that she is employing to kind of like, I don't know, is she trying to gaslight her own self into being curious why she's not invited on this trip? Like, where has she been?
I
The
don't
last
know.
13 episodes.
I don't know how she has, at the end, she goes like, I don't understand. I'm like, you don't?
Yeah,
Like,
she's
it makes perfect sense.
It makes 100% perfect sense.
Yeah. But I appreciated Shannon for putting it in writing, because I also feel like that helps eliminate the possibility of Tamra bringing Alexis as her +1 and be like, what's the problem? Like,
Right.
I think it needed to be as clear as, you are not invited. I'm sure you can understand why. Thank you for the flowers. I have no interest.
Mhm.
It was actually like really, if I got that, I would be like, yep,
Yep.
I get it.
Listen,
like, how can you argue with that?
It would be so refreshing to not feel like there's any room for interpretation, you know? And we are recording this on Sunday, October 6th, and I believe they recorded the reunion today. The Orange County reunion was recorded today, I believe.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. In LA. We'll have that to look forward to in a few
Can't wait
weeks.
to see
I
what
know.
they wear.
I can't wait to see what they wear. Shannon is on one side of Andy, and Tamra is on the other side.
That seems
So
about right.
I believe, yes. Don't quote me on that. I don't feel like pulling up Reddit right now. Actually, I don't think I can even pull up Reddit right now because I have been relying very heavily on content blockers to help with my executive function and my lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Discipline. I've had a lot going on lately and it makes me all want to check out. And I do that with Reddit. And so I have to put content blockers on my on my phone so that I don't pull up Reddit. And then an hour later, I scroll and scroll and scroll instead of dealing with my life. ADHD has been the biggest bane of my fucking existence all week. And I have felt like a child. I have felt like an utter child. And I'm not even putting down kids. I'm just saying that like I have not had a lot of compassion around that part of my brain's chemistry this week. It's just been a lot is just up in my face and I don't want to deal. And today I didn't want to deal for things that once I'm done, it seems fine. But when I have to think about doing it, it seems so big that I just like resorted to all of my old coping mechanisms. Let's eat some ice cream in the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. Let's scroll Reddit endlessly. Oh, let's find that one sweatshirt that you wanted in 2003. And all of these things to avoid doing like my other job. And I feel real bad about myself right now. I just feel like I don't like Logan Roy said in season 6 of Succession, I am not a serious person.
Oh,
I'm not
man.
serious people.
I'm
not serious people. I'm not serious people. I don't say it to be an asshole to myself. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm just kind of stunned. I'm just stunned in the reality of what it's like. And I didn't take my ADHD medicine today because I like to do ketamine on Sundays for my home maintenance, and you're not supposed to take stimulants the same day that you do that. I'm still going to do it, but it just makes days like this a little bit harder for me. And Sundays, for some reason, still have that real visceral Sunday scaries feeling that never have left me as an adult, unless I'm on vacation and it's one of those kinds of vacations where you don't know what day it is because you're having so much fun. Mm-hmm. It's like, I've got the Sunday scaries. I don't have to go anywhere. Well, I do have to. I do have things to do in the morning on Monday. It's fine. I have a Monday to do, but it's not like I'm not living under my father's regime. I have not been teleported back in time. There's no need to have a Sunday scary. And yet I have them in triplicate and quadruplicate right now. And I am not very compassionate to myself because there's a lot of things that like, I don't have it. There's a lot of things that people are going through that are infinitely worse than what I've got going on right in front of me. But I don't feel good. I don't feel good.
I mean,
about myself.
But I think you're right. I feel like it feels counterintuitive, but the only solution is compassion.
I know.
Because for me, the more I beat myself up about the techniques I'm using to procrastinate, the more anxiety builds, the more I procrastinate, the more anxiety builds, the more like it's not
That's
like
exactly
any of
what
those
happens.
It's not like any of those things I do, like Swiffering or cleaning or organizing or like that. I like to trick myself and say like, this is important work. It's not the work that needs to get done. And there's no relief from the pressure that's building behind me because I just need to do the thing, but I don't want to do it. And so I do all these other things. And then the anxiety morphs into like self-loathing, morphs into, loud self-hatred, and then it's so hard to get back. Mm-hmm. So I want to beat myself up to get back and be like, come on, you idiot, just put down the organizing and do the thing you need to do. But the only thing that ever works is like, okay, baby, okay, sweetheart, take a breath, sit down, get on the floor with the dog for 15 minutes, set your timer, get on the floor with the dog for 15 minutes, and then get up and go sit at your computer and do the thing that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But like never have I had any success being an asshole to myself. And I'm so skilled at it. It's not like I haven't tried every brilliant angle on on those attempts, but it just delays me further. But when I'm in it, good luck telling me that.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
I know. It's just, yeah.
But did you get the thing done?
I did get the thing done.
That's amazing.
I'm not 100% done, but I had to
Starting is the hardest part.
I had to do it, and now I just have to I have to edit it and turn it in, and it'll be fine. But
that's amazing. I mean, that's the other piece is like, like, we have to get more comfortable like throwing ourselves parades when we do something, when we actually do get it done, instead of being like, yeah, but I wasted the whole day. It's like, but you got it done.
Yeah, I did.
It's amazing.
I got it done. I got it done. And I did a load of my kids' laundry. And I drank a lot of water today.
I mean, that's a big deal, especially when it's hot,
Yeah.
You're not going to feel like shit tomorrow morning. That's amazing.
I
What a
really
gift you
hope
just
not,
gave
man.
yourself. If
I
you've
really
been
hope
drinking
not.
water all day, you are on a great trajectory to not
Yeah.
be a dehydrated
Yeah.
slug tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I did not mean to do this fucking poor Ramona circle jerk. That's not what I was trying to do.
It wasn't that. It was the Sunday Scaries download.
Sunday Scaries for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that they had a lot more scary. I am sure Shannon and Alexis probably felt a lot more Sunday Scaries today than I did. I don't know. Heather might have, but I don't give a fuck about her.
I don't think Heather feels. I'm just convinced of it more than ever after watching this episode.
Yeah. Oh,
Her
she's
trying to look like she's feeling something as she's listening. I was like, you are once again a terrible actress because I don't believe you.
She's a terrible actress, and I'm so interested to see how, 2 episodes ago is when she says, "I have some news for you. The dress was tight." Versus tonight when she's, last week's episode when she's looking face to face at her friend / coworker and says, "I think you're gorgeous."
No, you don't. I don't believe you.
I don't either.
The tone in her voice was not the same as the tone in her. I believed her when she said, "I got news for you. The dress was tight."
Yeah.
That I believed.
That I believe too.
Everything she said today was just platitudes and bullshit and
exactly.
Just nothing.
It's
real.
like she watched some YouTube videos about people talking about body acceptance and was like, okay, that's what you do. Okay, that's what you do. Yeah.
AI version of
Full
how to listen.
Full AI. Oh, Heather.
She's ridiculous. Yeah.
So we pick up where we left off. And we are at the tail end of Katie's party. Katie has left to go chase a very drunk Tamra out to the waiting car. And Tamra says a bunch of bullshit. It's like she's wasted. And so it's like the way she was pronouncing words just kind of brought it all back. Like, it was dee-sgust-eeeng.
Mm-hmm. I wrote that down like phonetically. I was like, my God, dee-sgust-eeeng.
Dee-sgust-eeeng. It made
crazy.
it just was crazy. Yeah. And they flash us, they show us a TikTok or an Instagram reel from an account called Giorgio Says, where he's talking about Ryan's involvement with the FBI and this other person that he has listed at his address. And it's all just very convoluted and yet not convoluted at all. And
can we talk about Tamra not being a serious person when she's like, the FBI is investigating. Here's how I know. I was on Instagram and this guy, and then they showed the thing, and I'm like, this guy? It's not like it's fucking Jake Tapper or someone like,
right.
It's like,
Giorgio
what
says.
I heard was that Giorgio is really, anyways, I was like, oh, none of you guys are serious. Tamra's a drunk. This guy's, and it's not to say none of it's true, but like, don't cite that as your source. You
honestly,
dumbass.
right?
Come on, man.
I know.
Eddie's right. Like, it's not worth it. Let it come out on its own with some actual like heft behind it, as opposed to
dee-sgust-eeeng.
Giorgio Says.
It was dee-sgust-eeeng.
Tamra was dee-sgust-eeeng.
You know what's dee-sgust-eeeng, Tamra? You know what's dee-sgust-eeeng is you and your MAGA son trying to SA Gretchen in a bathroom while she was wasted.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let it go. She needs to publicly acknowledge what she did. I don't need to wax poetic about this for 1,000 years.
No, but it's fascinating that like she never talks about it, nor does like Andy ever bring it up at like
no.
Like, but she's so insistent when she says, "Stay away from my kids." I'm like, "You stay away from your kids. You're the one who almost like got him to commit a felony act." My God.
Right. Oh my God. Honestly, all I really took away from this is that Ryan when he was hugging people goodbye, when he was hugging Eddie goodbye, his clothes are so clownishly too tight that it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm used to seeing Tyler Cameron from The Bachelor in really tight, really skinny short jeans. Carl, obviously, he's the pioneer of the too skinny, too tight jean. But Ryan, and I'm never one to be like, if you're over a certain age, you shouldn't wear XYZ. Like, I am absolutely not. But he just looks like a clown.
I mean, it's
Ryan
so
looks like a
interesting.
clown.
Like, as you listed those people, I was like, Tyler, Cameron, hubba hubba, yeah. And then you said Carl, and I was like, eh. And then he said Ryan, I
Oh,
was like, ew, gross. But it has to do with their personalities. Like, I find Tyler Cameron like dumb but charming and well-meaning ish, and I find Carl like, he's fine, and I
God,
find
why do
Ryan
I love
completely annoying.
Carl? I
Well,
love
because he's
Carl.
sober and he's really trying.
I
But
just feel like he is.
he is. And he just has no business being on Summer House anymore. It's really hard to have like the second you get sober around that crowd, you might as well be 55. You are just AARP in a house of like, crushed up Adderall and
Oh, you
whatever.
think crushed up Adderall? Really? I'm so naive. I just don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's pills floating around. I mean, it definitely seems like mostly drinking in that house, but I
My
feel like
God,
they stay up so late. I'm sure they snort an Adderall here or there to like keep the party
fascinating.
going.
I'm interested to see. I can't wait to see this year with Lindsay being pregnant, Carl being, into his sobriety for how long has he been sober now? 2 years, 3 years?
Well, their engagement broke up right around the year mark of his sobriety.
Mm,
So he'll be really sober because he was tolerating a lot. Again, it's the reason they say don't get into a new relationship before
right.
you've been sober for a year. But I'll be curious to see what he's like when it's really his primary focus, because
Mm-hmm.
he seems to be doing great.
Mm-hmm.
His little
He does.
what's it called? What's his area of the market called?
The non-alc
The
space.
non-alc space. Thank you. He
My
has his
very
little
favorite Bravo quote of all time.
yeah, he has his little cart going around the country touring his soft beverages and,
Dude, I
yeah.
love a soft bev.
But good
Good
for
for
fucking
him.
him.
Good
Yeah,
for Carl Radke.
it's like Craig on Southern Charm when everyone's like, your pillows are stupid. And then he's like, I'm going to stop doing Adderall and be a pillow fucking mogul. And
A
he
pillow
is.
titan.
Yes, exactly.
Hilarious.
He made it happen. I'm not a pillow titan.
I'm not a pillow titan either.
Good for him.
Good for him.
And he
Good
loves
for
it.
everyone. Good for
Yeah.
everyone. Not
for
good for everyone, but good for the people that we talked about. Good for Tyler. Good for Carl Radke. I don't think good for Ryan. I think Ryan's probably I think
Ryan, yeah.
Ryan might be on the scale of like Erica Girardi to the other person running for president right now. Like he's on that spectrum, you know?
I don't know. I feel like he flipped so fast. I feel like in this conversation, when he's like, "Oh, you must be talking about Matt," and then
Yeah.
he starts saying, "Well, Matt's a professional
Yeah.
gambler."
That was
I was like,
wow.
But I literally felt like, oh, the second the FBI knocked on your door, you were like, "I'll tell you anything. What do you want to know?"
I'm
Like,
sure.
and by the way, I would advise anyone I love to do the same. If you've gotten yourself like into some deep shit, just tell the truth and cut your losses and mitigate the damage. But he really, yeah, that was weird. That
It
was
was.
really uncomfortable. My driving feeling anytime Ryan is on screen is like, I want to get away from him.
Yeah.
And
So does
I
Eddie.
can't articulate why. I'm just like, I don't like you you just everything about you is weird. And I
Yeah.
almost feel like he could punch me without any notice, or he just seems like one of those people who is not stable and it could go left real weird real quick.
I'm silent clapping for your gut instincts because they are working.
Hey.
That's your
Yeah.
sense of fear working for good.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay.
Well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you. No, I was just going to say, I loved how Jen said, like, I'd love to say I'm blindsided in regards to Tamra, but I'm not surprised. She's not loyal to anyone. Again, this is Jen coming in with so many good observations. And yet it's just, again, I know that she's probably not employing her observation skills for her boyfriend right now, but I know she's also trying to put her kids in a house. So
I bet she knows. I bet if there were any other option, again, if someone dropped a bag of $3 million on her doorstep, I bet she'd be like, bye, Ryan, and she would get
Yeah.
this figured out. But
oh,
that's not where she's at right now. Yeah. And I did like when she said Tamra can't help herself. And I was like, that is it. She can't help herself. It doesn't matter if she does like you or doesn't like you. She can't help herself. And I loved later when Gina said something about like Tamra can't keep doing this. She can't just keep having 3 martinis and saying horrible things and then just shrugging and be like, oops, sorry. It's like you're 50 something.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's so harmful and it's so unnecessary. And it's just like, I don't want to be around someone like that.
Mm-mm.
She's ridiculous.
She is ridiculous. She's ridiculous. I've been wasting a lot of time like looking at like vintage designer bags because I'm trying really hard to like I'm trying to like shop secondhand.
Upcycle.
I'm trying to upcycle, right? And I often like a beat up bag that I don't feel like I have to be super precious about. You know, there's something about that I can appreciate. My point is the bag she just dropped on the ground because she was wasted and then dropped it in the street. And I was like, just like imagining the scuffs and the dings it's taking. It's like, I don't get to police how people treat their designer handbags. And maybe it's not even designer. Maybe she bought a knockoff. I don't give a shit. It's not my business. But like, I was just thinking like, oof, I don't want to buy a bag that some drunk lady's dropped on the ground.
Oh, it's
Who
fine.
cares?
You
Who
can just
cares?
spray
That's
some
not what anyone
Lysol in it and
called.
move it along.
Honestly. Do you have anything else to say about this dinner?
No, is this when we move on to outdoor expressions or
Yeah.
exterior expressions or whatever? it was called?
Backyard expressions.
Yes.
Yes.
We sort of bounce back and forth between backyard expressions and Gina's house. And for me, sort of the gist of it, Heather is she's so ridiculous to me. So basically, Shannon, Katie, and Heather are at backyard expressions. We get the information that it's Shannon's 60th birthday. And she's looking for some patio furniture, which does not play into anything. But it basically is a scene about Heather she basically asked Katie, like, whose side are you on? After Emily and Gina stormed out of the party. And Heather's like, Gina was on the wrong side of history. And Heather's, Shannon asked, like, how did you leave it? Have you talked? And she's like, no, we left it terrible and I haven't talked. And she turns to Katie and goes, but you talked to her. What did you find out? And then Katie, of course, spills it. And she's like, she was really upset. So now Heather has gathered all the information she needs to go home, craft her hero's narrative, bring that to Shannon's, birthday tea. And it's exactly what she did. It's so transparent. It's like Emily said, I just wanted her to be a human. She's just not human. She's just like a weird robot who's programmed to win. But when you're trying to win a friendship, it's stupid.
It's stupid, and it's also not how friendships work.
No.
And she's playing dirty. She is moving heaven and earth in order to avoid feeling vulnerable in a situation that inherently is, and this is in my experience, like wrought with vulnerability. Whenever you have tension with a friend that you care about and you have hurt their feelings, they have hurt your feelings, there is some sort of miscommunication going on where people aren't connecting over in that instant. And Heather is safeguarding herself before she's doing whatever she can to safeguard herself and her image and her ego before she has a heart-to-heart with Emily. So Emily's going to show up, as we later see, and she's going to be open and honest. Heather's going to be armed.
But
I'd rather be friends with Emily Simpson.
Of course.
And I'd rather be a Emily Simpson than a Heather as a friend.
It's so pointless what Heather's doing, but it rang true what Emily said in a later scene where she talks about how juries don't pay attention to the evidence they're presented to really discern and make a proper decision in a case, because Heather's here saying in this scene at the furniture store, I'm a good listener. Meanwhile, the previously on scenes that led us into this episode are her saying like, will you be quiet, with her finger in Emily's face, which led Emily to say, no, fuck you, and leave. You're not a good listener. You don't ever listen. You don't ever take anything in. You don't consider anything. You're not curious about anyone else's experience. You just think that you're right. And if someone else would just quiet down and listen to you, they'd understand why they're wrong. And it's like, that is not how humanity functions.
Mm-mm.
What is wrong with this woman? She is too rich. She has bought all the yes men in the world. And now she's so confused when people are like, no.
I think that's true. I was just going to say, like, she and Terry are probably each other's best, like, hype people. And then they have their assistants that are hype people. And Terry has his show, and he and Paul can, like, you know, circle hype each other or whatever. And it's like no one's showing up being real and authentic. And it's not like, whatever. I also, like, I didn't like the fact that, like, yes, we all know Shannon has her fair share of, like, Eeyore DNA running through her veins, you know? And it's her 60th birthday. And the lawsuit has dropped in the press thanks to her new castmate and her ex-fucking boyfriend. Like, with friends like these, who needs enemies? And then with friends like Heather, who needs enemies, you know? And so Heather's not okay with how Shannon is accepting her happy birthday wishes. Just like, dude, you know what, Heather? I don't know. I think that if it was Heather turning 60 and people were like, Yahoo, Heather, you're turning 60. Great. It's a big birthday. I bet Heather would have some feelings.
If Terry was fucking Alexis, I bet she would.
Okay.
It's like, that, I don't know. I was just impressed with Shannon in this episode. I thought she kept it together really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with, it was just another instance of, I don't believe anything Heather's saying. When Heather's like, you're 60, it's great. It's the same way it felt when she said, Emily, you're beautiful. I always tell you, it's like, I know you look at Shannon like she's old and single and sad. And I know you look at Emily like she's fat and she tried as hard as she could, but that dress is still tight. I know your type.
Yep.
So you can do all the talking in this register that you want and say happy birthday all you want. But underneath it, I know what you really think.
And she showed us, like, last week or 2 weeks ago, when she was like, and I have news for you. The dress was too tight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The dress was too tight.
It's like, and that was the most honest delivery of any line I've ever heard that woman give. So
exactly.
She was happy to shut someone down because they're big.
Exactly.
And by big, I mean, like, not a 2X or whatever size not 2X, a 2T. She, like, shops in the children's section because her body is, like, so tiny, Heather.
And, like, we're going to quote Paige DeSorbo. We don't hate you, but we see you. We don't hate you, but we see you. Right? Am I using this correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, like, Heather's a tricky one for me. I don't like her, like, in an extreme way.
Absolutely
like West, I don't hate him, but I see him. Like,
right.
But Heather, I'm like, you cause real damage, and you spend a lot of your time orchestrating bad things to happen to people who you don't like. Like, I'm worried about Katie. I don't know if she'll survive. I think she's amazing. I think her family is adorable. That little boy I'm about to drive to Orange County and kidnap. He's so cute.
He's so darling.
But I'm so curious about her adoption story. I would love for them to travel to Korea. That would be incredible. But, like, I don't know if Heather's gonna. And of course, I don't know. I don't know if Heather's gonna blow that up. And she can if she wants, and that's just reality. So whatever.
Fucking idiot.
Then she can be racist on top of being sizeist and ageist.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. I have more to say about that when I compare and contrast Emily's scene at Bespoke with Anthony compared to Heather Dubrow and her GLAAD award and her family equality stuff. We go to Gina's house with Emily and Gina, and Tamra was at Gina's house earlier and broke down what happened at Katie's the night before. And Gina says Tamra can't keep having 3 martinis and letting the chips fall where they may. Yeah, CC bravo. CC producers of The Real Housewives of Orange fucking County. CC Tamra. Like, we're not interested in this anymore. Your shit is boring and old. and stupid and toxic and not in an entertaining way anymore.
It's just drunk. It's
It's
just
just-
drunk
yeah.
behavior.
Progressive, man. It's progressive. Come on. Here we go.
It did make me laugh when Gina
God.
and Emily so I have the hiccups. Sorry about that. I don't know what is happening. My body is just it's having a revolt.
It's hot and it's Sunday.
No, it's just this everything has been going crazy. My body is like absolutely freaking out on every level right now, which is hilarious. But
Oh,
anyways,
no.
it did make me laugh when Emily and Gina slid down the poles, and the sound that they made was really funny.
Yeah.
Her kid was cute. Was cute too, Gina's kid.
Gina tells Emily she thinks she's deeper in the doghouse with Heather.
But she seems over it. I love Gina.
I do-
in this.
yeah,
She was
I
like,
think
I don't know. She's holding me responsible for walking out with you.
It's honestly, and this is the thing too, like Heather needs her minions. She needs to know that people are on her side. Like she said, like you said earlier, like when she asks Katie, well, what side were you on regarding Dressgate? And Katie tries to just explain to Heather, bitch, all she's looking for is to be heard. She is a human coming to you as another human asking to be heard.
And that's
And
when
you
Heather was
That's
like,
it.
well, I'm a great listener, but it's very hard to hear someone when they're coming at me. And it's like, that's when you have to listen to someone.
Yeah,
Like
it's not just when it's
listening isn't
right.
just when it's applause. You have to she's a ridiculous human being.
Dude,
Anyways.
let's move on. Bespoke Shop with Emily and Anthony and the man whose name I neglected to write down.
Same. I forgot his name.
That works at Bespoke, and we see him. Thank you. Emily's involved with the Innocence Center. Anthony is her client who has spent 18 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And she outlines how fucked up the justice system is. And it was a vastly different scene watching her and her energy discussing this than Heather talking about family equality and Emily talking about the Innocence Center. Like, it was just compare and contrast.
Because it wasn't a performance. I believe Emily's altruistic drive
I do
for
too.
doing this kind of community service. I believe that, and she seemed really disturbed appropriately and moved by this kid's story, who at 15, he was not involved in the crime he was tried for, but his stepbrother was. But
Half brother, I think.
half brother. But everyone thought well, we all know that the half brother did it, not him. So obviously the system will support that and find him not guilty.
Plot twist.
The system was like, you're going to jail for 18 years,
Yeah,
and then you're
the
going to go
system
to
don't care.
Bespoke and get a suit.
Get a consolation prize, right?
Bullshit.
Ugh,
So
it was dark, man.
gnarly. Yeah,
It was
What
gnarly,
a
but
sweet kid.
I
That
know.
man. He was
But
so
I really-
lovely.
And then we pivot to Korean barbecue with Katie and her family. Katie says that she is, did she say she was jealous? Not jealous in a bad way, but Kylie has taught herself Korean. Katie knows how to say fuck your mom in Mandarin, which again does not help her speak Korean in any way, shape, or form.
No.
And Katie wishes that she had been introduced to her Korean culture earlier. And they're excited to go to Korea for her 40th birthday and for Katie to meet her biological mom for the first time. And she says when you're adopted, you feel like you're doing a puzzle and the pieces for the lower right part are missing. And she's looking forward to filling in the pieces. I loved this scene.
I
Thought
loved
it was
it too.
Adorable. Bandon is so sweet.
Is that his name? Bandon?
Bandon,
Oh, I
which-
thought it was Bannon. Oopsies.
It's Bandon, which is a little. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest here because that's what I do on this podcast. I try to be honest, and I don't want to sugarcoat shit or just pretend I'm not going to be who I'm not going to be. That is a little bit of. There is a subreddit called Tragedy, and it is dedicated to names that have been dreamt up with unique spellings in order to satisfy the egos of the parents who give these names out. So Tragedy is spelled TRAD JEDEIH, like Ashley with the LEIGH versus Ashley ASHLEY. So Tragedy. So Bandon feels a little borderline pick me kind of a name, like,
I don't know. If it's like a
I don't
family
know.
name or a cultural name or something like that.
Fair. And I remain teachable in this moment, as
And
I
maybe it's just
make
because
this
he's so
proclamation. But
cute. I'm
he is
like,
so
his name
cute.
could be tragedy spelled like you said it, and I'd be like, he's perfect and adorable.
Exactly. No,
He's
I
so cute.
completely yeah.
No, I
just
think
gotta,
I'm blinded by when he asks his mom, what's your name in Korean? And she says Younghwa, and Bannon goes, I love you, Younghwa.
oh
And
my
I was like,
God. It was so
I just
sweet.
wrote love, 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 love.
So sweet.
And
So
he said
sweet.
he's excited to go to Korea to see fellow Koreans.
I
And I was like,
know.
oh, this poor child in Orange County, from San Diego to Orange County. It's just like,
Uh,
where's anyone who looks like me?
yeah. Yeah. And then we go to the main crux of the episode. They go to the tea house on Los Rios for Shannon's tea. And I love high tea. I have a very soft spot for high tea. My mother is Jewish. My dad was raised Catholic, so we celebrated Christmas and Hanukkah during that time of the year. And when my parents got divorced and we were all living in Southern California, we would have to leave my mom to go see my dad's side of the family, like for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So what we started doing, not until my sister and I were like older, is we would go to high tea with my mom at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown LA.
Ooh la la.
Yeah. And then we'd go to my grandma's house. So I love high tea. I love the food they serve at high tea. I love to drink tea at high tea. I love a Kir Royale at high tea. And I just I'm always looking for a reason to go to high tea. So if anyone wants to go to high tea, hit me up. I love high tea.
There's a really beautiful one at the Huntington Gardens.
Oh, I bet.
Because you overlook the Rose Garden and it's like gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. Shannon frames her 60th birthday as she's 60 and alone. I'm a spinster. And
oh, Shannon.
I know, but at least she did it with a sense of humor because like you said, her traditional Eeyore energy, like if someone had handed me this scene and said, read this as Shannon, I would be like, I'm 60 and alone. Not even my kids are here. I'm a spinster. But she was like, yeah, at least she had like some sort of levity about the whole thing. But she arrives at this place and then quickly makes an exit so she can wait for everyone to arrive so she can make her grand entrance. That was really disappointing if you ask me, but it's fine. Emily and Gina arrive first, then Jen, and then Heather arrives and asks to talk with Emily. And I loved Emily and I wish she just ended it here when she said, now, no. I was like, yes, because she's like, I wanted to talk to you friend to friend that night. And Heather says, I wasn't in the spirit to do a private conversation. And I was like, you had the easiest out in the world. I would have said, look, it was late. There were drinks involved. I wanted to have this conversation when we're both in our most clear head. Like I had a therapist who would always say to me, never talk about anything serious after 9 p.m. And that saved relationships I was in. It saved so many things anyways, Heather had that at her fingertips. And instead she said this weird AI configured sentence of, I wasn't in the spirit to do the private conversation. Okay. And then Gina, go ahead.
No. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to say the exact same thing, but
Just
yes,
that
please
Gina
go.
nailed it. Heather approaching Emily now feels calculated. She's never just in the moment. And as I was sort of saying before, she waits till she has time to craft her hero narrative and then brings it back to the subject. Gross.
Completely disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. And I don't understand how, well, no, I mean, Gina obviously saw it. I just want to know why, like, the fans aren't seeing this.
Yeah.
Like, why are normal people not seeing this? What is everyone just so, like, bowled over by the wealth and the perfection of it all that they don't see this? Like, I don't get it. Like,
I think
don't
they're
get it.
scared by her wealth and her power. And both you and I have such strong reactions to that attitude. I mean, I hate people who value wealth and power above human beings. I hate them. And I need to work on that. And I am. You might notice with all the edge in my voice, I'm in the middle of a fourth step where you take an inventory and figure out what
Oh.
you're really resentful about and what it's affecting in you and what your part is in perpetuating this energy in your own life. And I'm really in touch with how when people land in a position with money and power, there's suddenly, it becomes easy for them to roll over human dignity, kindness, safety. They just don't care anymore.
Mm-mm.
And there's so many people who support that energy. They're like, yeah, okay. And it's just like, where is the humanity? What is the point of all of us being on this planet? Is it just to earn the most and crush everyone else while you get up there? So Heather represents something that I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah, in my own life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up. That's great. Yeah. No, seriously. And it's true. It's so true. Also, I would like to say that Heather is so fucking full hip. She would have thrown down literal and figurative daggers at anybody who had tried to initiate a conversation. Just the fact that like she's walking into somebody else's birthday party and the first thing she says is, "Can we talk?" But if that had been done at like her bullshit party that we jumped the season off with, or God forbid it happened at the family equality party at the winery a couple episodes back, like, but it's fine for Heather to do it because it's Heather doing it.
Right. And it's
she's walking
Shannon's
in with an
event. Who
Hermes
cares
band, and
about
it's
Shannon?
Shannon's
She's
event,
old.
right.
She's almost dead anyways. So let's just, she's gross. And I like Gina saying, she said, your goal should be to share your feelings and communicate and make it better with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of those things are even in consideration for Heather. Her goal is to be right and to look good. And if that means making you look bad to achieve that end, so be it. She doesn't care.
She doesn't care. She is such a selfish fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I go on record. Heather, I would love to invite you on our podcast and we could have a sit down and discuss it all. If anyone knows Heather Dubrow, please.
You can do that one solo. I do not want to get in the line of fire of someone like that. I don't want to hear.
I'm not afraid of her.
I'm not afraid of her, but I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to sign up for someone to tell me what's gross and disappointing about me. That's where she goes. You know what I mean? I don't need to hear the dress was tight or whatever the version of that would be. I don't.
But if that's all she's got, like, and listen, I am also an adult person that's been watching Bravo since 2008 or whenever. I know better than to think that she will be called out on any of this stuff. And even if she is a little bit, it won't be sufficient. I hope that it is. I hope that this reunion being taped after this episode has aired, I hope someone takes her to task with like, how can you reconcile what you're saying with when you said with that smug ass tone of voice, I have news for you. The dress was too tight. Or it didn't fit. Like I want to know how she weasels her way out of that one, because it's unweaselable.
I mean,
I want to know.
I guess
I have
because
problems.
Emily forgives her,
Mm-hmm.
and since it's Emily's fight, I guess, yeah. But I mean, speaking of relentless, like Emily says, no, I wanted to talk to you the other night, and you put your finger in my face and told me off, so I don't want to do this now. And Heather won't relent. So Emily acquiesces in the spirit of this is Shannon's birthday party. And I don't want to make it miserable with Heather's weird beady-eyed energy, staring daggers at me the whole time. So let's just go have this conversation. And Emily immediately starts crying and Heather looks baffled. She just cannot wrap her head around.
What is this human emotion coming out? What is happening to me?
It's so...
How am I going to do this?
She's like, basically like, but I said you're fine. So what could you possibly be upset about? It's like, well... And I thought Emily did a really nice job of walking her through her feelings of like, can you understand how being given the big version of the little black dress felt? Can you understand why the next thing being handed to me is an oversized jacket wasn't the best? Can you understand how being the only person not put in the designer's pants was, significant? And this was Emily's mother wound showing, where she was like, it felt like you didn't see that I'd lost 40 pounds over the last year. And I was like, oh
Yes.
no, you're trying to talk to your mother, and Heather is
Right,
not your mother.
exactly.
And Heather
Right.
just goes, oh, that's so crazy. I'm like, you just said everything wrong. Don't call her
Honestly,
crazy.
I
Shut
swear,
up.
I felt like at one point she looked down
She
at
did.
her phone, maybe to like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if like,
She had
well,
notes.
if she had notes,
Yeah.
if she was looking at her notes, and
I
like,
caught that too.
she's so wildly unsatisfying and inappropriate at being a good person. It's just, it boggles my mind.
It's just,
I don't want to be her.
oh.
I don't want to be her.
But great news, she wants to be her. She doesn't want to be anyone else. She thinks everyone else is pathetic. So she can have herself. That's great.
Repulsive and repugnant.
And Emily really tried. She said, I know you don't understand, but this is really hard for me. And, you know, she basically said, for once, I thought I wasn't going to be the big girl, and there I was again. And that had something to do with you. And that's all I'm trying to say. And Heather then claims to have struggled with body image. Did you buy this? She's like, I'm a woman in Hollywood. I've struggled with body image. I'm like, no, you haven't. You love going into fittings. You love when they're like, oh my God, she's so tiny. She's so
Probably.
tiny. We can put anything on her. She
Probably.
loves that. She has not.
I mean, I think that everyone has body insecurity, and I definitely think that if you work in Hollywood, you do. But like, I think she has like the standard issue. How do I say this? The standard issue, like every actress in Hollywood has that kind of. You know what? I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I do believe that most women in Hollywood. I'd be shocked if women in Hollywood don't have that feeling.
I agree.
On one end of the spectrum or not. Like she definitely didn't have like, you know, like I shared about what my experience was like going out on auditions.
What do you mean?
You know, just like having to write down my size and always
right.
being like, you know, like I was the 8 or the 10 in a list of 0, 0, 0, and 2.
Yeah, no, I feel like, but that's the thing is I've worked with actresses who during production eat, you know, one hard-boiled egg a day, and like Heather doesn't have that going on. I just feel like, and she's been the thinnest person on any show she's been on, you know.
Mhm.
Malibu Country it wasn't Entourage. It wasn't her with a bunch of like young hot models.
Yeah, that's
She's never
true.
been in a
Oh my
situation
God.
where she'd be like, ooh, I struggle with my body image. It's always been, anyways, I can just hear her in her fittings. I can just hear the wardrobe people
I totally know what
cooing
you're
over
saying.
how
I
skinny
get it.
she is.
I
And
get it.
so
I
excited
get
that she
it.
can fit
Yeah.
in anything. And Heather being
Absolutely.
really high on that, which is not healthy, but it's not what Emily is talking about.
Yes, I can absolutely see that. Tamra shows up and I forgot what I was going to say and I don't have it in my notes.
She tried to apologize. She goes, Jen, I want to apologize. And Jen just stares at her. And then Tamra tries to cover and she's like, I know we need to talk more about it, but I just want to say I'm sorry. And Jen, I was so proud of her. She just goes, let's have that discussion another time.
Yeah.
And then just basically lays it all out. Like, I've done this with her so many times. It goes nowhere. I'm exhausted by this pattern. Like, I think Jen might actually have hit her limit with Tamra. It took her exposing Ryan's FBI involvement, but I think she's really, and I think it is sad for her because it will mean she loses Eddie, and she does really seem to appreciate him as a friend. But like, maybe that'll get Eddie to fucking hitch his trailer and get out of there and go to Big Bear and leave that woman.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to start losing all the people around you, like, is Tamra worth it to lose all your friends?
God.
Oy.
No thanks. Sorry, Tamra, but like make your own fucking bed, you know? Like you made your bed. Like I don't know what you want me to do with you. I don't know where you want me to find the compassion for you right now. Tamra, I don't know where you want me to find it for you. You have everything you need at your disposal. You have everything you need. You have money. You have time.
You have health?
You have a health. You have your supportive partner. You have a relationship with 2 out of your 3 children who are rooting for you and need you to be a good mom and to evolve for them. And you're not doing anything with what you have.
No.
And I'm not saying I'm fucking perfect, but I every day I go to bed and I'm like, what could I have done better? What can I do better tomorrow? And I say I'm sorry and I try to change. And I'm not Tamra. She's got every opportunity to become a better person. So she's just willful at this point. Everyone's fucking willful at this point on this whole cast.
I mean, it's just a complete avoidance of what and who she is. It's so much easier to bitch about Alexis or bitch about how Shannon bitches about Alexis. It's so much easier to bitch about Jen and Ryan and the FBI and their disgusting whatever. But you're disgusting too in your own way. Like, she's just so busy judging everyone else that it's like, you really don't want to look at yourself. And yeah, I don't know that she ever will.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't either, man. Not my problem. Not my monkey.
No.
Not my monkey. Monkeys are all, she's not my monkey either. And I'm like, listen, monkeys, I get it. She's no one's monkey.
No. She can be that chimp crazy lady's monkey.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
Then the last moment with Heather and Emily, I was just like, oh my God, Heather, you've completely missed the point. Heather just goes, can I tell you my side of this now? And I was like, oh my God, you didn't listen to a word she said. You were just waiting. And then you asked permission, which you think is so benevolent of you. And then she just goes on to defend why she made all of her choices and saying all the things that just land so hollow and flat, where she's like, you're a badass bitch. That's why I put you in a moto jacket, and you're curvy and voluptuous. You and Alexis both. That's why I put you in that. It's like, no, none of that's true.
No.
And you're not selling it. There's a reason your TV network failed. Or whatever that was.
Oh my God.
HD, Fireside, whatever the fuck.
Right. Yeah. What's up with that? What's up with that, Mark
It
Cuban?
must have just died. I think Mark Cuban invests in a lot of things, and either they catch fire and he pays attention, or they're Heather Dubrow.
Oh God.
And then Heather is full hip because she goes, in the future, if you're upset with me, will you just call me and we'll talk about it? And I'm like, she tried to talk to you yesterday and you put your finger in her face and said, will you be quiet? That's what happens when someone tries to have a conversation with you. So no, Emily very generously said yes. But I was like, you'll get the same result. She didn't listen. She didn't change. She doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
She just wanted this feeling that she has right now, which is like, it's fine. You were crazy. You were crazy, right? Because I just told you my side of it. So now you see how you were crazy. Just call me. It's like, ugh, you are wicked.
She's terrible. She's a terrible person.
Not the best. Shannon enters and she announces that she has gifts for everyone, and they all open their little gift boxes, and it's tea because they're invited on a trip to London. She rips open her dress to show like a sparkling Union Jack tube dress or whatever. And
Very
then
Spice Girls.
There's a very long segment of bad accents, and I was crawling out of my skin, so I can't talk about it. Somehow Gina can go deep in a Jersey accent but give her like 1 second of trying to do a British accent, and it was atrocious.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
It wasn't funny. It was like, it was so bad. It passed the point of being funny and just went into like, it's like briefly depressing. And then Heather gives Shannon the Hermes shoes. I don't know, whatever. There's talk about she likes Ferragamo too, and how she showed Gina all the accounting for the Ferragamo shoes. And we flash back to Alexis saying, I'll just pay her the $400, just so she'll shut up about it. But it's like, you filed a $70,000 lawsuit. Like, it's not about that. Anyways, it's just, we're just getting in the weeds of all that, the Alexis situation again, until everyone finally toasts to Shannon's 60th. It's a lovely moment. And then a man enters carrying what appears to be the heaviest flower arrangement.
I felt so bad for that man.
My God.
I felt so bad for him.
I could feel his back going out through the TV. I was like, let him put it down. Let him put it down. And like, how is Shannon going to get that home? Alexis is such a dick.
She's such a dick, dude. So it's just not a very smart dick either. She's just not. She's not thinking it through. Producers probably too, but like, anyway.
But it was also just such a move. Like, again, it's all for the show. If Alexis really wanted to extend an olive branch via a flower arrangement, she could have sent it to Shannon's house. You know what I mean? But she decided to show up at this tea party uninvited in this way by sending
Oh my God.
a flower arrangement the weight of an adult human being, apparently. And then she's confused why she's not invited on the London trip. It's because
With an olive branch in it. Yes, I know.
which, I mean, it was lovely, but it's also like my head was spinning. I had whiplash. I was like, what the fuck is this girl? It's insane to hope for a fresh start in Shannon's new decade. Like that, her card said something to that effect. And I was like, a fresh start? You literally just like dick punched her last night. And you're like, oh, let's move on. Now that you're 60, we've all
Right.
matured overnight, haven't we? It's like,
Right.
no.
Right.
And you're still in bed with her boyfriend who's still suing her
Right.
for, what will amount to, probably close to $200,000 once lawyer fees are paid. And like, it's such a huge
don't
investment.
understand.
And she offered to pay and it did the whole thing. I can't.
The cognitive dissonance, again, like I would have to work hard. I would have to pay a professional to help me have that much cognitive dissonance. I would have to throw money at a professional cognitive dissonance person,
Expert. Yeah.
expert, leader.
Well, and this is where I appreciated this next moment because Emily thoughtfully just says, what are your thoughts? That's what she said to Shannon. And I was like, what a great question, as opposed to being like, fuck that bitch. Or she didn't lead the witness. She's just like, why don't you express yourself, Shannon? And Shannon just said, it's 9 weeks too late and I don't have any interest being friendly with her. And I think anyone in my position would feel the same way. And for Shannon Bedore, that was like the most measured, stable, serene, the most perspective having angle on this I could ever have imagined. I was proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
I really was like, because that sucks. You created this whole event that you're excited about, and then this bitch inserts herself
On your birthday.
with an arrangement that will not be ignored.
Yeah.
The only way to get that out of that party is to ask that man to ruin his body some more by picking it up and moving. Like,
Yeah.
she's there now. Alexis is now at the party. And it was just, ugh.
Totally.
Anyways.
Totally. So, anything else about tea before we moved on to the last scene?
Just some things in Shannon's language. She just said, I have to create boundaries for myself. So at this point, I'm out. And she goes, I hope you guys understand that there have been a lot of things coming at me lately that could have in my past taken me down, but I'm doing everything in my power not to let that happen. And I believe her. And it's imperfect. She's not doing it perfectly, but like, I don't know. There was a million, we heard the butt dial. She's emotional, but she's able to like have her feelings, take what's useful to her life and write that text to Alexis, as opposed to, before she would just have had her feelings all over Alexis and made it worse. Anyways, I just thought she sounds very sane, which is
Totally.
hopeful.
Totally.
But then they do share. After that, someone asked for everyone to share their favorite memories of Shannon, and they go around the table and to a person, it's just, remember when you were ultra drunk? Remember when you were so drunk? My favorite memory of you is when we were both so drunk. And I was like, oh, I mean, but that is how Shannon has moved through the world. So
Yeah, it is.
she's been pretty drunk.
It is. Ay, ay, ay. Yes. Then we have Katie and Jen going to Alexis's house. And I don't know why Alexis was so shocked at this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't.
I mean, it was a weird scene. I did appreciate Jen and Katie because Alexis you could tell at the opening of the scene, she was so proud of herself for her floral arrangement. She's like, that was undeniable. Good fucking luck. And she basically invites them to sit down and goes like, so are we moving forward? And Jen and Katie are like, no. And Alexis is outraged. She's like, I sent an olive branch. What more can I do? And it's like, cancel the lawsuit or stop talking about how old she is or what size she is. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. But
yeah, don't.
And then
I mean,
The
so many
girls
things, yeah.
asked if Alexis had gotten the text, and she hasn't yet. So she goes up to get her phone from John Jansen, who's just like hovering in a bedroom with an open door upstairs, clearly listening. And like all of
Gross.
this just creeped me out. And she reads the text that, basically says, I'm taking my friends to London and you are not invited. Thank you for the flowers, but I'm not open to an olive branch. And then Alexis is like, why can't she just move on? And it's like, again, because yesterday you're mean to her, you're suing her, whatever. And Alexis says, well, she brought that on herself. That lawsuit, she brought it on herself. And then we get the weirdest, most chilling confessional of Alexis and John Jansen together that just made me sick to my stomach. I was like, your relationship feels, didn't you feel this like darkness in
Yeah.
that confessional?
Yeah.
I did not feel like two people were in love. I felt like it was a hostage situation and that Alexis was like, I'm just going to do what he told me to do.
Oh, God.
And John Jansen claims that it was, some statute of limitations was approaching on facelift refunds or whatever. He's so full of shit.
He's so full of shit.
And he said he had to take legal action. But we also know that Shannon offered him the full amount of money. He says she sent an email acknowledging it was a loan. Yeah, no duh. She offered to pay it all back before the statute of limitations. Like, you filed the lawsuit after she made her offer. So John Jansen says Shannon has an interesting relationship with the truth. And I was like, you have an interesting, it
Yeah,
takes one to know
dude.
one. She's like rubber, you're like glue.
Honestly.
And it basically, Alexis gets all righteous about John Jansen not being willing to agree to a non-disparagement clause. And I did think, Heather had a point in that furniture shop scene at the top of the episode where she said John is worried about not being able to answer back to whatever Shannon says in these episodes as they air. And like, that's fair, kind of, but it's also like, it's so petty. It's just, he bought her the facelift and then they broke up. And like the number of times I've been in relationships and quickly tally all the money I've spent on gifts and trips and, especially if you've been like cheated on, it's like, I should have all of that back, but you don't get it back. It was part of the relationship and it's gone with that relationship, Enjoy your Rolex, enjoy your whatever. I didn't buy anyone a Rolex. I think I bought a college boyfriend, like a Tag Heuer or something. It was like $200. Yeah. And I was a hostess.
More than that.
No, not the one I bought. There was an assortment available, but it was all the money I had. And then when we broke up, I was like, I really want to get that watch back. But like, that's not what you get back.
No.
I made a dumb choice and I got this, whatever. And then Alexis says she's done. I won't be around this group. It's unbelievable, she says.
It's
And
so
then-
believable, Alexis. It's literally the most believable thing we've ever seen in this entire network, in the entire history.
In the world. It's like
yeah,
the thing I can
honestly.
believe in the most is
Yeah.
exactly what's happening right this second.
Truly.
And then she starts breaking down crying and she goes to her front door to open it to indicate that Katie and Jen are to leave. And I don't know why it made me laugh so hard, but the front door alert was going like, front door, front door, front door. When she's like, I'm done, front door, I'm done, front door, unbelievable, front door. It was just killing me. And I think that is what motivated Jen and Katie to finally stand up and leave because they
They're
were
like,
like,
oh, we're getting kicked out. She's
front
her
door.
ground flourish like, okay. Exunt.
It was, yeah. And then the girls were right. Alexis like slammed the door on them and they're like, is she mad at us? Like, we didn't do anything. And then Alexis, you hear her go upstairs to what I can only assume is like a very, again, there's a just feeling of darkness around John Jansen. And she goes like, fuck them, crying. And I'm just like, you need to grieve your mother. You need to get away from John Jansen.
Yeah.
He's such a creep.
Go to therapy.
Once again, his whole thing was, I don't like the exposure that this show brings. Cut to John Jansen in a taped confessional for the show. What are you talking about? Talk about cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
You're not
And
making
at
any
least-
sense.
At least the other cast members are talking about it in their confessionals
Yes,
as well. Like,
true.
why, what is he doing? He is
All of
so
them are
he's full
noticing.
fucking hip. Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Alexis is being taken for a ride and she's like a dodo. Like, God bless her.
Oh, God bless.
She's grieving. She's not thinking clearly. And John Jansen has found his next victim.
Mm-hmm.
Predator. Creepy
Gross.
ass predator.
Ugh.
Anyway.
What else did you watch this week, friend?
I didn't watch a lot this week, but I did watch The Great British Bake Off is back on. And it's
I saw that.
Isn't it so good?
I haven't watched it yet, but
Oh.
it is so soothing. It is
I thought you
very
meant I saw
soothing.
that as in I watched.
Oh, I saw that it was
watched the
on,
new-
that it had
gotcha.
started. Yes.
There's a couple new episodes that are out, and the bakers are wonderful, and everyone's so nice, and it's so beautiful, and I just love that show. It's like the anti-Housewives. Everyone is there to root for each other, to be emotional. They tell these stories about the things that inspire their bakes that are heartbreaking and beautiful and joyful and hilarious, and like they're all so personal and honest. It's just the best place to touch down with like good people who are really honest and have a really like a skill that they love and are so proud and happy to have a place to do it under that beautiful tent and that it's also they get weather, there was like a big rainy, freezing cold day. Anyways, it's so fun. I love that show.
I
What
love
else
the
did you
show
watch?
visually. I love
Yes, it is beautiful.
it. I forgot to mention this last week, but Selling Sunset season 8, man. Ooh. God, I just forget how much I love that show. I wish it was on all year round. And is that it? Is the season done? And I don't think they're doing a reunion. Like, that's it.
I think it's done, right? Because it ended with like, anyways, I won't give any spoilers.
I
but
won't
yeah,
either,
it felt
but
like it ended with a big.
it didn't have like the last episode I watched wasn't like, episodes blah 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 or part 2 coming in a week. I think I read somewhere, I just saw a headline. I didn't actually read it because I didn't want any spoilers when that article came out, that like Chrishell was like, I'm not doing the reunion. And I don't know why, so I don't know what happened. I really wanted to see what happened. But I just I love watching the show. Not a fan of the newest, what's her name? Alana, Pioneer Town.
Oh yeah, which turned out to be a lie, and she had to apologize. She's like, "Sorry, I don't actually own that." But
yeah,
I
mean, come on,
Anyway.
that's so egregious. But like, she gave nothing. I really don't want that new. I don't want Amanda. I don't want Amanda to join. I'm already not a huge fan of Nicole at all, and I'm definitely not. Every season, I like her less and less. Every season, I like Chrishell more and more. I really love that fucking show. God damn it, I love it.
I do too. It's so easy to watch.
Completely.
And they're a little more, their fights are really, they just go right at it. And they're really honest. Like there's one girl whose husband, it comes out that he's probably not faithful. And she immediately is like, yeah, well, this is going to be terrible. And like, there's none of this Heather Dubrow, like, we were at Disneyland because we always go there to snuggle. There's no bullshit. She's just like, yeah, well, my career took off and I started partying and being a business person and our marriage is failing. So this sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean,
woo,
who knows?
just go
But
straight at it.
It's just it's just like candy. It's like a great, fresh, newly opened movie theater size box of hot tamales.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. It's just delish. I love it.
is.
I love it. Anyway.
And what was your,
and friggin' we keep forgetting to talk about Salt Lake City. I keep forgetting.
I haven't
even watched
it.
New York yet.
I haven't watched any of it. I haven't watched anything yet. I haven't watched.
Yeah.
I watched, I guess, like half watched the first episode of Salt Lake, but I haven't seen the second one and I haven't seen New York yet. So I gotta
me too.
snuggle up to that TV.
But I couldn't, I couldn't put down the Selling Sunset. Like, it's just so easy. And I'm like, damn it, I need it to come back. I'm sure it'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm sure. Because those were some good cliffhangers they left us with. So
They were. So,
yeah.
And then what was your antidepressant this week? You've had a hard week.
This week was rough. I don't know. I guess, this week has been completely focused on, I think I'd mentioned on the podcast before, I had a friend who got a sudden and severe diagnosis and he Oh, no.
Do you want to take a
Um,
break?
no, it's okay.
You sure?
He passed at the beginning of the week. And so this week has been a lot of thinking about him and talking about him and looking at videos and listening to voicemails and all of the things you do. But I do think, even though I'm weeping, my antidepressant is that like he existed and I was close to him and his life was amazing. Holy shit, this man did an incredible amount in a short amount of years on this planet. His legacy is going to be massive because everyone he touched felt about him the way I feel about him. I knew him for 30 years, but other people knew him for 6 weeks and were as intensely affected by him. So there's something, I don't know, there's something purposeful about like moving forward, wanting to like put lots of Gavin qualities at the front and center of my existence. I want to make a conscious effort to do that. And as it relates to this podcast, he was a huge proponent of therapy. Every time he spoke to students, every time he did interviews, he always talked about his therapist and what he learned in therapy, and everyone should have a therapist. And he was so enthusiastic about what it did for him and how it changed his life and how important a professional's feedback on your experience can be. And he was so vocal about it, and I appreciate that so much about him. And maybe I'll send you a little clip from some podcast he did where he was like, talking about therapy, and we can tag it on to the end of the
Oh my
podcast
God,
or something.
I would love
But
it.
his name was Gavin Creel, and he was amazing. And look him up. It's worth it. He was an incredible talent and activist and human being. And what I loved most about him is that I met him in college, and we both think fart sounds are hilarious. But it's rare when when someone meets me and they realize how much I think farts are hilarious. It's an uphill battle to get them to take me seriously and to see me as a whole person beyond that. But he was someone who thought farts were hilarious. And also, we both saw each other for all of the depth and all of the, everything that made us complete as human beings. And we love farts, but often normal adults will be like, you love farts. And then they have a hard time like taking your political views seriously or your, thoughts and feelings about other things seriously. But Gavin, from day one, we were like, oh, you're exactly. Okay, great. We see each other and we can talk effortlessly and laugh effortlessly. And anyways, I didn't mean to turn this into like a weird fart eulogy, but I love him and I miss him. And he's my antidepressant because I knew him.
I'm sorry your heart is hurting so much, friend. I'm sorry. But I understand why it is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone goes through grief and loss, And how about you? What was your antidepressant? And you already used Selling Sunset, so you can't use that.
Let's see. Yesterday, I had an organizer come help me organize a part of my house. And she was very lovely and supportive. And the company she works for, they are organizers that the woman that founded it like wanted to have like a focus for helping people that have ADHD
Oh my
like,
God, that's
and so
amazing.
it feels like it's not just I feel like I have a solution. I don't have like, this is not just like a one and done thing. And she's going to come back and like help with, we're going to do our garage next and probably go through the house, which is going to be great. She was like a real cheerleader as opposed to she just was lovely. And then we went to celebrate Rosh Hashanah with my mom's best friend's family. And it was lovely. We've been doing it with them for years now. And it's just really lovely to see my son and their son play.
Mm,
Like they could be brothers. And I think it's adorable. And it was really nice. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So lots to be grateful for. And Happy New Year to those who are celebrating right now. But it's still, shit's heavy. Shit's heavy in the world. Shit's heavy. So it's nice to acknowledge the things that are not right now.
Yeah,
So, anyway,
definitely.
yeah. On that note, everyone, please take really good care of yourselves. You know where to find us. But if you have a friend that doesn't know where to find us, please let them know you can find us on any major streaming platform. Wherever you stream your podcasts is where your friends can do it. Pass us on. If you think anyone else would enjoy it, you can always find us at A Therapeutic Dose on Instagram or reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. Drink some water. Go to bed a little bit early. Read a book. Listen to a book. Try to be nice to yourself. I'm going to do all these things too.
Yeah, stave off the Sunday scaries.
Yeah.
We're all going to be okay this week.
Set the content blockers.
Yeah, I got to ask you about that offline.
Oh, yeah, I will,
really am
for
curious.
sure. For sure. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Take care of yourself, everybody.
All right.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
But can I tell you something
did
else
that.
that my therapist, who everyone should be in therapy if you're listening, everyone should be
Yes,
a therapist.
ditto.
It is the greatest.
Ditto.
Having a professional who understands feelings in a way that we think as human beings that we get. No, baby, we don't get feelings. They do because they studied it.
Ramona and Margie are
Obviously.
not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.